Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. Examine the potential of wind energy in India and explain the reasons for their limited spatial spread. Let's start with introduction of the answer. India possesses a substantial wind power capacity, amounting to approximately 48 gigawatts, ranking it fourth globally in terms of wind power capacity. A recent study conducted by the National Institute of Wind Energy, NIVE, has revealed an even more significant wind energy potential of 302 gigawatts at a hub height of 100 meters in India. Main body of the answer. Number 1. Expansive coastline. According to the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, India's peninsular and island regions, boasting a coastline stretching nearly 7,500 kilometers, have the potential to generate an impressive 127 gigawatts of wind energy. Number 2. Promising states. Among the states, Gujarat leads the pack in terms of wind energy potential, closely followed by Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. Number 3. Offshore wind energy. The possibility of installing offshore wind turbines in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea is significant. According to the Global Wind Report for 2022, India has the capacity to generate 127 gigawatts of offshore wind energy. Number 4. Robust manufacturing sector. India boasts a robust manufacturing base for wind power equipment. Number 5. Government aspirations. The Indian government has set ambitious goals, aiming to achieve 175 gigawatts of power capacity from clean renewable energy sources by 2022. Of this, 60 gigawatts is earmarked for wind power. Reasons for limited spatial spread of wind energy. Number 1. Diverse topography. India's topography varies significantly across regions, and not all areas offer ideal conditions for wind farms. Number 2. Substantial initial costs. Wind energy projects entail a substantial initial investment, often accompanied by inherent risks. Number 3. Economic competitiveness challenges. Wind power tends to have a higher per unit cost compared to conventional forms of energy generation. Number 4. Land acquisition issues. Acquiring land for wind farms can be challenging, particularly in fertile regions, which limits their spatial expansion. Number 5. Technical challenges. India faces technical challenges such as a lack of infrastructure for research and development, mainly based on European technology. Number 6. Complexities of offshore wind turbines. Offshore wind turbines require sturdier foundations and structures than onshore farms, leading to increased installation costs. Number 7. Policy support gaps. Wind energy policies are still in a state of transition. Tariff ceilings in auctions, which vary by region, can make achieving specific tariff rates difficult. Number 8. Manufacturing limitations. Most Indian firms do not yet produce high-capacity turbines and long blades required for offshore wind farms, restricting the growth of wind energy. Number 9. Cyclone vulnerability. The east coast of India is susceptible to cyclones and tsunamis, posing a severe threat to both onshore and offshore wind turbines. Number 10. The government has introduced several initiatives to address these challenges. Number 11. National Wind Solar Hybrid Policy, 2018. This policy aims to create a framework for promoting large grid-connected wind solar PV hybrid systems to optimize the use of wind and solar resources, transmission infrastructure, and land. Number 12. National Offshore Wind Energy Policy, 2015. This policy focuses on developing offshore wind energy within India's exclusive economic zone, EEZ, which encompasses the country's 7,516.6 kilometers coastline. Conclusion of the answer is, wind energy, though costly as compared to some other renewable sources of energy, can help in achieving SDG 7, energy for all, especially for people living in mountainous areas, also help achieve INDC goals by reducing carbon footprint. Question number 1. Discuss the role of the Vice President of India as the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Let's start with introduction of the answer. Articles 64 and 89, 1, of the Constitution provide that the Vice President of India shall be the ex officio Chairman of the Council of States i.e., Rajya Sabha. In the constitutional setup, Vice President is part of the executive, but as Chairman of the Rajya Sabha he is a part of Parliament. Main body of the answer. Role of Vice President as the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. 1. Principal Spokesman. The Chairman is also the principal spokesman of the House and represents its collective voice to the outside world. 2. Ensures dignity of House. As the presiding officer, the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha is the unchallenged guardian of the prestige and dignity of the House. 3. Facilitate deliberations. The Vice President allows members to speak and ask questions impartially to discuss matter of public importance. 4. Maintenance of order. He ensures that the proceedings of the House are conducted in accordance with the relevant constitutional provisions, rules, practices, and conventions, and that decorum is maintained in the House. 5. Casting vote. As the Vice President is not a member of the Rajya Sabha, she cannot vote in the House. But, in case of a tie, he exercises his casting vote so that a final decision can be reached. 6. Correction of patent errors. She correct patent errors in a bill after it has been passed by the House and to make such other changes in the bill consequential on amendments accepted by the House. 7. Rules for joint sittings. The Chairman of Rajya Sabha and Speaker of Lok Sabha is consulted by President for making rules as to procedure with respect to joint sittings of the two houses and communications between the two houses. 8. Guide Rajya Sabha Secretariat. The Rajya Sabha Secretariat functions under the control and direction of the Chairman. Admission to press gallery is regulated under the direction of Chairman. Interpretation of rules. The Vice President has the right to interpret the Constitution and rules relating to the House, and no one can enter into any argument or controversy with the Chairman over such interpretation. Conclusion of the answer is, the Vice President must allow the opposition parties to present their views and express their dissent against the government as freely and frankly as possible. The neutrality and non-partisanship of Chairman of Rajya Sabha can go a long way in firming the roots of the system of parliamentary democracy by facilitating constructive debate and dialogue. Recently, India also witnessed elections to the post of VP after the term of Venkaiah Naidu was over. Question number 1. Explain the causes and effects of coastal erosion in India. What are the available coastal management techniques for combating the hazard? Let's start with introduction of the answer. Coastal erosion is the loss or displacement of land, or the long-term removal of sediment and rocks along the coastline due to the action of waves, currents, tides, wind-driven water, waterborne ice, or other impacts of storms. As per data from Ministry of Earth Sciences, out of 6,907.18 kilometers long coastline, about 34% is under varying degrees of erosion. Main body of the answer. Number 1. Hydraulic action. This exerts pressure on the surrounding rock and can progressively splinter and remove pieces. The splinters fall to the seabed where they are subjected to further wave action. Number 2. Wave energy. The wave energy is considered to be the primary reason for coastal erosion aggravated by sea level rise. Number 3. Natural hazards. Disasters such as cyclones, thermal expansion of seawater, storm surges hamper the natural rhythm and increased erosion due to precipitation. Number 4. Heavy rainfall. it enhances the saturation of soils, leading to a reduction in the soil's shear strength, increasing the chance of slope failure landslides. Number 5. Sea level rise. It has been observed that sea level rise of 1 mm per year could cause an inundation of the order of about 0.5 m per year, IPCC report. Number 6. Strong littoral drift. Strong littoral result which result into sand movement. Number 7. Secondary factors, weathering and transport slope processes, slope hydrology, vegetation, cliff foot erosion and resistance of cliff foot sediment to attrition and transport. Anthropogenic. Number 1. Dredging and sand mining. It causes sediment deficit, modification of water depth leading to longshore drift and alter wave refraction, thus contributing to coastal erosion. Number 2. Construction of upstream dams. It reduced the flow of sediments from river estuaries with increased coastal erosion. A widespread consequence like coastal wetlands disappearance is likely to occur. Number 3. Rapid urbanization. It has led to enlargement of natural coastal inlets and dredging of waterways for navigation, port facilities, and exacerbates saltwater intrusion into surface and groundwaters. Number 4. Change in landscape, removal of small islands, loss of beach sediments, deposition of sediment on productive lands. Number 5. Population vulnerability. About 40% of the world's population lives within 100 kilometers of the coastline. Number 6. Depleted resources. Heavy use of fisheries has reduced endemic coastal fish stocks to about 10 to 30% of the supply that existed 30 years ago. Number 7. Ecological degradation. Half of the world's wetlands disappeared and nearly 60% of the world's coral reefs are degraded. Number 8. Pollution. The pollution from industry, agriculture, and urban areas is degrading the quality of much of the world's fresh water. Number 9. Loss of agricultural land. Coastal erosion leads to loss of rich agricultural land, which impacts small and marginal farmers in India. Number 10. Animal life. Destruction of existing habitats of shore flora and fauna. Number 11. Infrastructure. Disruption of communications caused by the collapse of seafront, damage and destruction of jetties, and destruction of boat launching facilities, septic tanks, water tanks, and building foundations. Number 12. More disasters, weakening and destruction of sea walls, revetments, bulkheads, and other coastal defenses which reduce protection against future storms. Number 13. Others. Loss of income for those who are dependent on coastal areas, scarcity of drinking water, and less recreational activities. Available coastal management techniques for combating the hazard: artificial beach nourishment, creation of protective structures such as seawalls, revetments. Number 2. Beach devatang system. Number 3. Vegetation planting. Number 4. Use of geosynthetic tubes or bags. Number 5. Promoting mangrove ecosystems and coral reefs in the coastal areas. Number 6. Dredging and disposal of dredged material for major ports. Number 7. Relocation of infrastructure, any housing farther away from the coast. Number 8. Use of indigenous knowledge of local communities before decision-making concerning. Number 9. Developmental projects along the coastline. Conclusion of the answer. Nearly one-third of the country's coastline is severely eroded. National Center for Coastal Research. In order to arrest coastal erosion, the government must implement 15th Finance Commission recommendation which suggested the NDMA to develop appropriate norms for erosion mitigation measures and a policy to deal with the extensive displacement of people caused by coastal and river erosion.